Ah, welcome to Clara Bikini Supermodel's new erotic suspense story. If fashion kills, this house is a catwalk straight to hell. Like and subscribe. If you're into femme fatales, murder, and secrets stitched in lace. I arrived in Savannah. Not for the beaches, darling, but for the mystery. A cryptic email invited me to a luxury lingerie retreat, but the mansion waiting for me was anything but warm. Candlelight flickered through dusty windows. The air smelled of faded perfume and regret. And the mannequins? They stared, like they remembered me. At midnight, I found it. The old ballroom dressed in red candles and whispers. A runway split the room, lined with lace and lingerie, like a sacrament. An old camcorder blinked on, and there she was, walking the catwalk. Mid-pose, she vanished. In a crimson boudoir, I found a drawer hidden behind satin. Vintage Victoria's secret catalogs, each page covered in fevered notes. The missing influencers all wore these rare editions. Someone was recreating rituals, not shoots. That's when she appeared. Miranda, raven hair, eyes like charcoal smoke, a velvet robe teasing her curves. She told me she was the curator, but her voice, too smooth, her stare, too cold. And yet, I felt drawn, like satin to skin. She invited me to her midnight ceremony. Incense thick in the air, soft music, distant, wrong. I slipped into the vintage sheer she offered, every thread designed for seduction or sacrifice. I walked that runway, eyes on me, her breath behind me. The end of the catwalk creaked, and the floor gave way beneath me. I fell into darkness, and a blinking red light watched me descend. I landed hard. The air down there was wet, electric. The basement was a shrine, and I was its next goddess. Every wall covered in fashion shoot stills. The girls were posed perfectly, until they vanished. In the mirror, I saw my own photo, taken just hours ago. Then came Miranda, but she was no longer velvet. She wore latex now, tighter than a secret. She held a vintage Victoria's Secret sash like a blade. She told me she was one of them, discarded by the industry. Now she was immortalizing beauty, through death. And I was to be her finale. I played along. I suggested one last shoot. I said, "Let me pose you." She stood proud. Wings made of lace, eyes glazed with madness. I flipped the camera on. Recording. Then I shattered a mirror, and I grabbed a shard. For my close-up. Lights burst on. Music surged. I walked the runway, blood dripping from my shoulder, the sash in my hand. The mannequins swayed, and the house moaned. I tossed the footage into the fireplace. The flames licked it like a lover. Behind the mirrors, they stirred. I walked away. One heel broken, the sash wrapped tight around my waist. The mansion collapsed behind me, or maybe it just exhaled. Either way, it was over. Thank you for joining me on this investigation. If you enjoyed this story, like and subscribe. To follow more of my dangerous adventures, moi,